Well, I think you have to look at Dame Sarah Khan's work when she was the Tsar of counter-extremism. She wrote two reports. They've both been ignored by the government that commissioned her, the previous government. The second one was written with Mark Rowley, and we provided advice from counterterrorism when I was head there to Mark and Sarah, which basically these are gaps in the law where people are committing very serious offences and we can't prosecute them. We think they're serious offences. We think the law should allow us to do that. But we have no legal definition of hateful extremism and therefore no powers to deal with this kind of behaviour. It's a fine line between malicious communications and Public Order Act offences and counter-terrorism, and there is a gap. Sarah exposed that gap. My view is that this government needs to go back and look at that work and do something about it.
Give me an example where the line is crossed from freedom of speech to extremism.
This is really difficult, but it was in the glorification of violence and incitement hatred. Now, there is a glorification for counter-terrorism, and it has some very clear caveats that it has to be likely. You know, there's an intentional and a reckless point. There are some caveats. Like all lawyers, it's framed in a very, very discreet way. There is quite a gap before you reach that threshold where you can go online and effectively incite violence by making what look like very disingenuous, innocent remarks and comments. But the effect in the real world is dramatic. Now, the argument is, for a lot of those people, is I'm not breaking any laws. I'm entitled to my opinion, and I'm just giving my opinion. I don't expect these people to use violence, and I will say that we're not using violence, and they are skirting that edge of the law. If you had a definition for hateful extremism which actually called out extremist rhetoric that is likely to lead to violence against people and property, that would be the gap that Sarah was trying to close in her report. And that would give police the power to go after people with much more serious consequences than, for instance, malicious communications.